ladies and gentlemen, Dave Stone.
Okay. I don't know why I'm so violent, but thank you. What's up, Atlanta? Thanks for coming out. Glad you guys are here. Yeah, man, it's so good to be back in Georgia. Back in Georgia, that magical place where people argue about mayonnaise. How about a Miracle Whip your ass, Jamie? How about that? It's the Dukes family, you know that. Oh my God, so good to be back. I'm from here, I'm from Georgia. I claim Atlanta, but I'm from North Rural Georgia. I like the city, I like southern cities. It's the rural areas that baffle me. Oh, I haven't been back to North Rural Georgia in a while. I don't know how it is now. It used to be infested with dickheads. You know, the type that only the South can produce. That hyper-masculine, mud-brained dickhead. Just mean and stupid. I don't know shit about shit, but fuck you, huh? 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 They're all hard of hearing. Huh? What's up, huh? Jesus Christ. The guys that are just so mean and stupid and tough that their bone structure physically can't produce a smile. I'm straight and tough. These are the kind of guys that cultivate their own stupid catchphrases. You know what I'm talking about? Every shitty job I ever worked around here, there was at least one dude who had his own dumb personal mantra. Wouldn't shut the hell up about it, you know? Well, they come up here trying that shit with me, they better pack a lunch. Boss man thinks I'm working on Saturday, he better pack a lunch. I love this one too. Not this old boy. Not this old boy. Vote towards my own interests. Not this old boy. Read a book. Not this old boy. Every now and then you'll hear a good one from like a sassy Southern dude. I love a good sassy Southern fella. They always got some zingers locked and loaded, you know? Hell, I don't know what to tell you. Shift manager outranks kitchen manager, and I'm the shift manager, so do that math, and don't forget to carry the one. All right. It is great to be back in the South. I've been traveling all over the South recently. I was in Louisiana recently. Got any Louisiana folks? Any Louisiana folks? Yeah, one dude, right on. It's a beautiful place. If you're thinking about visiting, be warned. They will make you feel like a world-class puss if you don't eat a bunch of weird shit. Good Lord, they love their wild game down there. Won't shut the hell up about it, man. I did a whole week of shows every night after every show, just fighting for my life. No, I've never had possum jelly. No, I'm not gay. Why would you ask that next? Yeah, man, we eat boar, we eat bear, we eat gator, we eat snake. You ever had Indian food? Gross! No thanks, dude. I did have some of that boudin. You guys know about that boudin? You go to Louisiana, you gotta get that boudin. If you don't know boudin, it's like sausage's ugly cousin. As if sausage isn't gnarly enough. It's like crust punk sausage. I like any food where you're like, this is good, what's in it? They're like, ah. You ask too many questions, Dave. My bad. When I was in Louisiana, I saw something that I haven't seen in like 30 years, what with modern traffic laws the way they are. They were doing road construction on the freeway. I got rerouted off these back roads for like 20 miles. I got stuck behind guy in the bed of a pickup truck. Just a guy sitting on a paint bucket, just staring back at me. Not even sideways on the wheel well, just locking eyes. Not making this up. Passenger seat, unoccupied. I don't know if there was an odor issue or what. Unless you're fleeing a tornado, why not wait till you could ride on the inside of a vehicle? I don't understand that. They also have something else in Louisiana you don't see much. They have rural pedestrians. That's bizarre. Like, we live in a city here, you know, there's sidewalks and stuff. It's pretty common to see pedestrians. This was the middle of nowhere. Just guys just walking around, stepping over roadkill, waist-high weeds. It's like the devil's rejects just wandering around. I saw one guy dragging around a muffler repurposed as a weapon. Like, where are you going? There's nothing out here. It's the middle of nowhere. Honey, I'm going to the store. I'll be back in 6 hours. Don't wait up. Oh, man, I do love the South, though. That kind of behavior starts early. I'm a product of the Georgia public school system. Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. This is the finished product, so... You know, where little boys are raised with the expectation of not only being straight and conservative, but also just assholes. Just every kid I went to school with, just the meanest, dirtiest little lice-ridden fucker. Just beaten down from an early age. Just the despair on their face of like a divorcee with child support and alimony. You ever seen a haggard 10-year-old? Mm-hmm. I'm 10, fuck off. Ugh. Just grizzled children. Like, my elementary school was like a prison training ground. Just mean little fuckers. I remember this one kid sat right next to me. It was big back then to put bumper stickers all over your notebooks. He had like a purple Trapper Keeper, big red and white bumper sticker. I remember it so vividly. I heart cats, ... dead ones. Jesus Christ. Somebody keep an eye on that little criminal. We play mean games. We play swap licks. You guys remember swap licks? Yeah, some of you are educated. You don't know what I'm talking about. Swap licks is where you square off with your buddy and you recreationally punch the shit out of each other. I'm gonna punch you, you punch. There's no beef. Nobody's mad. We're just bored. Just punch you, punch me. First one that winces is a sissy. Deal? All right. Let's go out in the yard and punch each other. Sometimes we'd have the same game, same concept, but just with fist. We call that bloody knuckles. You just hold your fist out, and your buddy just punches you in the fist. You punch him right back. Just an idiot pendulum back and forth. Just two fucking morons punching each other in the hand because we ain't learned to read yet. I remember we had this one kid in 5th grade, Tommy Childers. That's a great shitty kid name. Tommy Childers was a 10-year-old man. He was a dude. Tommy was just the man. Like Tommy, every day for lunch, Tommy carried his in an igloo cooler. Not the little small custom personalized one that you can maybe squeeze a 6-pack in. The full size, the one meant to feed a whole construction crew. It was like 9 cubic feet of cooler. It was bigger than he was, just walking down the hall with his, like an AC unit with a handle, filled with tomato sandwiches. What kind of a fucking maniac 10-year-old is eating tomato sandwiches? He wasn't a vegan, he was just 65, I don't know. I think he had like a thermos full of black coffee. Like, Tommy just had this little man swagger about him. He was always wearing like muddy jeans and work boots and a wallet chain. It's like a Johnny Cash song come to life. He was the only one in our class who wasn't afraid to engage our teacher in adult conversations. Like, every day it was something new. Like, hey, Miss Rutherford, couldn't help but notice that your brakes were squeaking this morning. I'll be glad to take a look at that right after PE if you want to write me a hall pass or something. That's no lie. He used to fix cars in 5th grade. He would carry car parts in his backpack. Like once a week, we'd gather around his desk while he covertly showed us a used timing belt or a alternator or something. I think he was a veteran in the 5th grade. I think he'd already done a couple stints in the Navy. He had like a limp sometimes. He had like old man ailments. Oh my God. Oh, Tommy. I think he had a job. He was always mumbling weird job stuff. Nobody understood. Yeah, they trying to make me a supervisor down there at the cardboard factory. They say I gotta learn how to spell first, so that's the only reason I'm here. Damn union dues went up, now I ain't got no milk money. He was just a man. Tommy unknowingly taught me about sex. Oh, did he? It's not creepy if you're both kids. No. All right, man, I'm just following your lead. I don't know what we're doing. No. Tommy sat right in front of me all of 5th grade, and if I remember correctly, Tommy only had 3 shirts. So every 4th day, he'd restart the rotation, and I got to know it well. On Monday, he'd always show up with just his white T-shirt with just a catfish, no font, no context. Hey, it's a catfish. Fuck off. I like catfish. On the 2nd day, Tommy would bust out his authentic, game-worn Captain D's employee polo. This thing was rad. It was like royal blue, had like a gold collar, like Captain D's embroidered on the right chest, Doug on the left chest. We all unironically thought that shirt was awesome. I remember one time I was like, man, where'd you get that shirt? He's like, cousin worked there. They fired him. He gave it to me. I was like, oh, man, that's pretty cool, man. That's like fast food vintage. Right on. And usually by Wednesday, Tommy would bust out his Big Johnson t-shirt. Oh, yeah, some of you know what I'm talking about. For those of you unfamiliar with the Big Johnson brand, it was a novelty t-shirt company marketed towards children, and it celebrated having a big old dick. Yeah! Big Johnson, wordplay, get on board. Now, there were dozens of variations of these awful shirts. They all featured Big Johnson himself. He was the main character. He's a little dweeby, little cartoon fella, little skinny nerd type dude. And he was always surrounded by a couple of voluptuous cartoon women. And in each one, he found himself in a different phallic situation. And they were all done in the form of like a print advertisement for a fake company. And they all had a terrible sexual innuendo written at the bottom. It'd be like, Big Johnson Landscaping Company, going deep in the bush to get a little trim. Just a weed eater coming out of his pants. Hey, buzz, buzz, buzz. It's my dick. The weed eater's my dick. You get it? Big Johnson Fire Department, she'll get wet when she sees the size of your hose. Caconk. The hose is my dick. It's always my dick. Big Johnson Casino, liquor in the front, poker in the rear, 2-foot stack of poker chips. Teachers, administrators, completely fine with this. One time they sent home a kid for wearing a Guns N' Roses t-shirt. Oh, that's the devil's music. I gotta go home and change. But big old cartoon dicks, that's fine. At least it means he's straight. That's what we're trying to instill in the Georgia public school system. Way to go. Oh, jeez. Speaking of which, I'm trying to rid my masculinity of all its toxins. Been working on that. A lot of my friends are confused. Talking about a Muslim, I can't be a dude. Can't be a guy. Like, I get it. I'm a dude. I like being a dude. I like steak and punching as much as the next guy. But if I'm being honest, my software could probably use an update, you know? And I don't know, man. I don't know really the ins and outs of it. I think it's just as simple as just don't be a shithead. Really, it's just don't be a shithead. Just treat women and everyone with respect. You know, just don't be. I'm not trying to preach, but it's pretty simple. Just don't be a dickhead. It's really that simple. For me personally, I think I figured out a formula. I think it's as simple as me behaving the way I did when I was 7, not 17. A lot of weird changes in that 10-year gap. You know, you can still do like fun masculine shit. You just gotta focus on the fun harmless side of it, not the shitty misogynistic side. Like, for example, my favorite thing to do when I was 7, I do this about 3 times a week. I'd go fetch my dad's hammer out of his toolbox, and I'd go out in the backyard, and I'd just beat the shit out of a tree. Just wailing on a tree. No nail, no reason. Just little Dave blowing off some steam. I'd start with the asphalt. I tried just hitting the ground. I was a dumb kid. I'm gonna go hit the ground. I didn't have any give. A tree's got a little give to it, you know? It makes it feel like you're doing some shit, you know? And I didn't hurt anybody, you know? I didn't offend any women. Other than the mindless destruction of nature, but... I was a dumb kid, man. I was a dumb teenager. I was a dumb little kid. I was so dumb, man. I was dumb and violent. That's a bad combo. Not real violence. I was obsessed with, like, cartoon pretend violence. I was always watching pro wrestling. Kung fu movies. I grew up in the 80s. I watched way too many 80s action movies. I was convinced that one day I would just be called upon to handle some shit. My whole childhood was spent training to save the day. I would. I'd watch a Chuck Norris movie and I was like, all right, I gotta work on my kicks. All right. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I work on kicks. All right. I practice my karate chops, you know. Watch Rocky IV, a lot of shadow boxing. I remember one time, the first time I saw that movie, Red Dawn. Remember that classic? And the Soviets parachuted in, took over that high school. I was like, holy shit, I'm not prepared at all. I got a lot more training to do. Part of my training involved randomly burying stuff in the backyard. About once a month, I would take all the condiments out of our fridge, put them in a cooler, dig a hole, and bury it in the earth. Because I thought in the event of global catastrophe, mustard and ketchup might be used as currency. I was dumb. I was always making bombs. I made so many bombs. You gotta be careful saying that now. Yeah, I loved explosives. Yeah, and thank God I didn't know anything about chemistry. I would just hollow out a sweet potato. Just pack it with powdered Gatorade and birthday candles. Wrap it in duct tape, light it, and just throw it at my friends. Incoming! I don't know how to make it go off. When I found out the A-Team was not a documentary, I was heartbroken. I used to watch the A-Team. I was like, man, this is a great career option right here. I had my whole future planned out at 7 years old. Like, I'll either join the A-Team or I'll be a ninja. It's really that simple. I even tried to start my own chubby little A-Team. Me and 3 or 4 of my stupid fat friends. First time I understood the concept of like ransom and kidnapping. It's like, I think I can help. Let's start a business. We got to help these people out. We made little flyers out of crayons. We'd canvass the neighborhood, try to drum up business. Miss Johnson, do you know anybody who's currently being held hostage? No? Okay. Do you want us to blow up that shed? Well, take a flyer just in case, all right? I don't know. My 9th birthday, I remember about a week before, my parents were like, hey, your birthday's coming up. What do you want to do? You want to go ride go-karts? You want to go to the batting range? Chuck E. Cheese? I was like, I want to go to the dump. I was obsessed with the dump. I lived out in the sticks where we didn't have trash service, so you had to haul it to the dump yourself. And I would always go to the dump, and it wasn't very impressive. But then one day, we went to, like, the other wing of the dump. Like, it wasn't trash bags. It was, like, old furniture and microwaves and ping pong tables. I was like, holy shit, this is free? My dad was like, yeah, technically. I was like, I want to go to the dump for my birthday. Give me, like, a basketball goal or a sofa or something. My parents were like, we're not going to the dump. We're going to the psychiatrist. That's where we're going. You idiot. Oh, well, but things turned out all right. Now look at me. All right. Oh, man. Yeah, I've been out on the road for like 3 weeks. Been having a good time. Spirits have been high until last night. I was in Birmingham. Nothing against that city, but I was in the back of the room, kind of like tonight, trying to get my mind right before the show. And like 30 seconds before they called me up on stage, a lady I had never met before came up to me and said, "Hey, you look like you know where the bathroom's at." I do? That's the vibe I give off? The bathroom? I get it if she was busting balls, like, "Hey, chubby, point me to the nearest Arby's," but the bathroom? You, sir, look like you might have to shit at a moment's notice. Oh. Thank you, total stranger. That's good for the self-esteem. Oh, I have been trying, though. I've been trying to lose weight. Oh, it's so difficult. It's so hard to lose weight. I've tried everything except diet and exercise, but it's rough, man. No, I've been working on the keto and the intermittent fasting. I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not too disciplined. I still afford myself a cheat day every now and then. Oh, it's the best day, the cheat day. By the way, not really a cheat day if it lasts 72 hours, but here's what a fat doofus I am. Last cheat day, I got a hold of a bag of chocolate-covered almonds. I got a hold of a bag. They fell off a truck. I purchased a bag of chocolate-covered almonds. Ooh, the sweet and the salty. Oh, it's so good. And I was really just in the zone. I was just dominating this bag. I was just mowing through them like time stood still. I was just, oh, thank God it's cheat day. And in my fury, I ran across an almond that didn't have any chocolate on it. And just instinctually, without even thinking, I was just like, ugh, and tossed it aside. Really? You fat idiot, you can't just eat an almond? Nice try. This nut ain't got no candy on it, no thanks. And I like almonds. Not on cheat day. That would be wrong to eat anything healthy on cheat day. Anybody ever eat a meal that didn't take? Some of you thin people have no idea what I'm talking about. You ever eat a whole meal and you're like, yeah, that didn't do anything. Except give my stomach blue balls. Let's try that again. Another round of ribs for me and my friends. Let's try that. I've even tried to research the science and psychology behind overeating and poor nutrition and bad diet and stuff. And I'm learning a little bit, but I think for me personally, I've learned that it really all boils down to, I don't like being hungry. No, thank you. My tummy's lonely and it needs his friends. Get in there and mingle, little buddy. Now, I am trying, though. I bought a treadmill this year. That's exciting. Got the treadmill. Got one of those cool hybrid treadmills / coat hangers. It's pretty cool. It's just always there judging me. And the only problem with the treadmill is I live in a one-bedroom apartment. And the only place it made sense to put the treadmill was right in the center of our front bay window. Got this nice bay window that just kind of juts out into the neighborhood. And I live in a gay neighborhood. It's not a pejorative, it's literally gay. The crosswalks are rainbow colors. Do your thing. I support the gays. Do your thing. Do your thing, fellas. And it's a fun, vibrant neighborhood. And there's a lot of foot traffic. I live on this main little stretch there. Just a parade of fabulous gay dudes just always walking by. And I'm just up in the window, just on display. Just like the world's grossest red light district. Just like I'm too dumb to figure out OnlyFans. I'm just I don't know, just look, I guess. I don't know. What's your kink, fellas? What are you into? Chubby bearded dude in a barbecue stained t-shirt? Walking in place at 2.5 miles an hour? All right. Step right up. Big beefy sauce daddy's got you covered. Enjoy the show, fellas. I don't know. I don't know if this is any good for y'all, but I'm here to help. Oh, man. I got married this year. That's exciting. I locked it down. Got married. Right before the wedding, though, I did have some friends reach out, kind of typical pre-wedding conversations. Dave, you sure? You sure you know what you're doing? You sure she's the one? Absolutely. Yeah, she's the best. First of all, when we met, I was living in a van, so she's what you call genuine. She's not a gold digger. I know that. Yeah, no, she's awesome, man. We get along. She's so funny and so much fun to be with. If I'm being honest, there is one little issue, and I feel like I can open it. Yeah, I'm going to confess here. I'm not trying to be crass, but she's not very adventurous in the kitchen. She's a food prude. She doesn't care about food at all. It's clearly one of my passions. Food's just an afterthought. She could care less. She's one of these people, she's actually said, if I could just take a pill and get my nutrition, I would rather do that. I don't understand that logic at all. That's like saying, if I could just impregnate my wife without actually having sex, that would be ideal. Like, what? In both cases, shoving things in places is part of the fun. Why would you deprive yourself of that pleasure? Yeah, man, she's got the taste buds of a 16th century Puritan. Just a lot of bread and porridge. It's just, it's so boring. And she makes me feel like a real food pervert most of the time. Because I'm always trying to coerce her into things she's not comfortable with, just like, hey, it's falafel, just put it in your mouth. No. Just kiss it. No. And I'm not trying to be petty, but we're married now, and we're going to be eating together every day. And she's the only woman I'm allowed to eat with for the rest of my life. I'm just a little concerned that our lack of culinary chemistry might force me to look outside the home to fulfill my desires. I don't want to be that guy, but I have needs. Maybe I'll find like a nice lunch mistress, Yeah. Nothing romantic, nothing physical. Maybe like a heavy-set Russian grandma, Like thick calves and a hearty appetite. Somebody that can really appreciate a good buffet or burger pop-up, David, get in truck. We go to Sizzler. Yes. Okay. Just sitting around late at night, you up? I'm all horned up for wings. Let's get together. And the weird thing is, even though my wife doesn't care about food, she still has a violent appetite because she's a personal trainer, which is already funny because I'm me. And so she's working out all day long. She's burning calories all the time. And man, when she's hungry, it's intense. Like when it's time for a feeding, I just put on a helmet and get out of her way. Like she just gets down too. And I do all the cooking. I do all the cooking in the house. She has no patience to cook or even mildly prepare food. Yeah, and if I haven't prepared anything and she's hungry, she will literally eat whatever's within arm's reach, whether it's prepared or edible or not. About once a week, I'll walk in on her just munching on dried pasta. Just a fistful of spaghetti, just crunching on it. Like terrible carnival food, just walking around, just munching on spaghetti, blocks of cheese, peanut butter by the jar, bottles of honey. It's like a damn California black bear wandered into the campgrounds. I'm gonna start hanging all my food from a tree branch. There is one food she does love. She's a self-proclaimed fruit nerd, which is a little redundant. Nerd in the sense that she doesn't mess around with the mainstream stuff like apples and bananas. That's hack. She likes the cool stuff like pomegranates, figs. I never even heard. Like, I thought figs was just like a marketing ploy by the Newton people. She's always just popping in figs. They're just loose in her purse. Persimmons, never heard of a persimmons till I met her. Persimmons sounds like something a Dust Bowl farmer would name his daughter. That's our youngest persimmons. She can't work in the field anymore on the count of her polio, but we still love her. And she's strong too. She'll grab a peach, just snap it in half like a chimpanzee. Just eat it in 2 bites. She'll go to the fridge, grab like 3 nectarines. What kind of a dork goes for seconds and thirds on fruit? Me, I eat a banana. I won't shut the hell up about it for a month, you know? Well, it's not processed sugar, so it's okay. I wake up in the morning, there's fruit carcasses all over the apartment. It's terrifying. Oh, man. And here's the other thing. She sucks at the munchies. We both smoke a little weed. Healthy people don't know what the hell they're doing when it's time to cut loose. Like her idea, like really going for it's like sprinkling some brown sugar on her oatmeal. I'm gonna have to run 3 extra miles tomorrow. Me, I got a cheat day coming up. I'm at the grocery store days in advance doing recon. That's a fat move right there. Go to the grocery store with no intentions of buying anything. Just standing at the butcher case like, oh, no, I'm not prepared to buy today. I'm just browsing. Doing a little tire kicking. Yeah. Oh, man. Speaking of food, here's a stereotype that's not always true. Not all grandmothers are good cooks. Maybe I'm projecting. Mine sucked. Sweet lady, terrible cook. What? Every woman in my life, just, even my mom, just, she tried, but, oh man, my grandma, jeez. Memaw is what we called her. Memaw lived like a mile away my whole childhood, so we eat over at her house like 3 or 4 times a week. Just a tight rotation of shitty entrees. Ugh, a lot of fish sticks. A lot of sloppy joes. Just 5 years old, just eating a manwich off a paper plate. Like, ugh. Even at that age, I was like, Mema, what are you doing? This is awful. Her go-to was hot dog casserole. That's the flagship of her fleet. Even worse than it sounds. Just a bowl of chopped up wieners with a bunch of Kraft American cheese slices on top. I was just like, oh, this is rough, Meemaw, come on. And the ironic part is Meemaw loved watching cooking shows. That's all she watched. Every time I was over there, Matlock, Murder, She Wrote, cooking shows. Couldn't get enough. And I remember one time I was in there watching one of these cooking shows with her, and she actually said, I can't believe she gets paid to do this for a living. I can't believe she gets paid to cook on television. I'd like to do that. Really? What would you do with a cooking show, Meemaw? I would have loved to have seen that train wreck on the Food Network. Welcome to supper time with Meemaw. What camera do I look into? Okay, today we're gonna prepare my grandson's favorite dish, hot dog casserole. Now start by boiling you up a pack of wieners. You just want to heat them up. Our good friend Oscar Myers already done the cooking for us. Chop those up into tiny bits and place them in a microwave-safe bowl. And then place 4 or 5 of your favorite cheese slices on top. Now, you can use any cheese you like. I prefer the taste of the Kraft singles because they're typically on sale. Once you've applied the cheese, place the bowl in the microwave. Now, I forget how much time. I just hit the popcorn button. Now, in the event that your microwave does not have a popcorn button, you can simply sing one of your favorite Baptist hymnals. Throw out the lifeline, throw out the lifeline. Someone is drifting. Bing! Okay, it's ready, David. David, get in here. Your hot dog casserole's ready. David loves his hot dog casserole. Gobble, gobble, gobble all day long. We get back from commercial break, we'll prepare his other favorite dish, hamburger steak. Here's a secret, it's just a hamburger without the bun. And for dessert, an assortment of hard candies. This has been supper time with Memo. Run along, little David. Thank you. Rest in peace, Memo. Great woman, terrible cook. But, yeah. It is great to be here at the Earl. Okay. Cool rock club. Seen a lot of cool shows here, man. I was in Nashville last week and I saw some shows. I think I'm getting too old for concerts, though. As a matter of fact, right now I'm older than I've ever been. Yeah. Went to a show up there. I got stuck behind a concert finger pointing guy. The whole show just popping off. Like an hour and a half, this dude just going for it. And this is a bluegrass show, too. Yeah. Damn McCurry band slaps. All right, that's cool, man. Oh man, I started to do this before the show, but I couldn't score. I like mushrooms. I do those mushrooms. You guys mess around with those shrooms? I like those mushrooms, man. If you're thinking about it, if you haven't done it yet, you're thinking about it. Here's a tip: put it on the calendar. Make a day of it. Don't do what I did last time. Don't do mushrooms out of boredom. Don't do impulse shrooms. I was just sitting around. I was like, the Wi-Fi's down. Guess I'll play hide and seek with God. I'm bored. I took a hearty dose. I walked to my local public park. For 5.5 hours, I just stood. Beautiful park, puppies everywhere, people jogging. There's a guy who may or may not live in a van just tripping his dick off. There was already a group of dads had gathered to kind of keep an eye on me. One guy approached me. He's like, "Hey, buddy, you okay?" I'm like, "I'm doing a thing. I'm doing a thing. Get out of here. I'm doing stuff, man. I don't care about your stupid kid. Get out of here." I brought a notebook. I always bring a notebook when I do shrooms in case I fucking figure it out. In case I get those answers we're all looking for. I think my third eye is a lazy one. 5.5 hours of trip, and I wrote one thing in my notebook: above ground swimming pool filled with peanut M&Ms. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. That's what I wrote in my little notebook while I was high on drugs. Good job, Dave. I'm in my 40s. I'm still learning about my body. Ugh, that's gross to say out loud. No one wants to hear an adult explore his body. No, I'm past puberty. What I mean is, if you pay attention, you always can learn stuff about your own biology. I learned recently that I can't sleep in public, like on an airplane, not on the sidewalk. I was on an airplane a few months ago. I never noticed I do this. I was starting to nod off. Does anybody else do this, those first few seconds when you start to drift off? Does anybody else whimper? I whimper. I'll just nod off and just go, huh. What the hell is that? That is too creepy of a noise to be coming out of this stupid fat head. Might as well put on a clown wig and a baby mask while I'm at it. Really lean into it. I'm ticklish? That's weird for a grown man to be ticklish. What a design flaw in human evolution. When somebody is forcefully touching you against your will, your only defense mechanism is quit. I get this high, dainty little quit it, please. I guess it'd be weirder if it was like a deep register, like, ho, 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 quit it, I'm ticklish. Ho, 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 stop it. Stop that. I'm ticklish. My mom used to use the phrase, tickled to death. Oh, that Andy is so funny, just tickles me to death. First time I heard her say that, I was like 6 years old. I was like, holy shit, that's a thing? My whole childhood, I was convinced that one day the boogeyman would just jump out of the bushes and work me over. Ah! I hyperventilate, piss myself, and die. What a horrible way to die. Oh, David got tickled to death. Go Braves. Philly shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. 14 games back, third in their division. Brr. Oh, I just splashed on my face. That could be weird out of context. No, I'm a Braves fan. I love the Braves, lifelong fan. I was in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in 1986 when Bob Horner hit 4 home runs. Yeah, a guy who looks like he runs an underground puppy mill. Got 16 total bases that day. Yeah, I've always loved the Braves. Just now I realize I guess our entire organization is racist. You know? I get it, you know, the Native American thing, the Braves, you're not supposed to use a group of people as your mascot. Can't do the tomahawk chop anymore. People don't want you doing that. It's demeaning to Native American culture. I get it. I'm not trying to defend it. It is racist, if you can technically. My point is the tomahawk chop, racism aside, it's still mimicking chopping a human being in the skull. No one seems to have a problem with that. What do they think this is? This is grisly close-range murder with a bladed weapon. You're celebrating a base hit by pretending to scalp someone. It's a little intense. No one complains about that. I remember a few years ago, it was national news when some school kids got suspended for making finger guns. Bang, bang, not even bringing a gun, I get that. Just making the finger gun. The tomahawk chop is way worse than finger guns. The tomahawk, the Native American tomahawk, it took weeks to carve out of jawbones. So not if, but when you have to stave off manifest destiny, you got a trusty tool to grant the white man a swift and gory demise. It shouldn't be seen as some family-friendly tradition in the name of team spirit. It's so violent, especially out of context. Imagine somebody going to their first Braves game, they show up late in the third inning, just 50,000 people. Whoa! Whoa, what kind of murder death cult bullshit did I walk into? Uh-oh, runners in scoring position, bottom of the ninth. Cut his fucking ear off, Acuna! Whoa, just a nice day at the ballpark. Peanuts, Cracker Jacks, and splitting a person's face in half. Go Braves. I got a solution to the whole problem, all right? Hear me out, all right? Instead of naming your mascot, your team, after a group of people, why not be one of the first teams to name it after a specific person? It's right there, face of the franchise, Hammerin' Hank Aaron, the Atlanta Hammers. You keep the colors, you keep the A, change Braves to the Hammers. The tomahawk is basically a hammer, right? Guess what? You could still do the chop, but now we go close-fisted, and it's the swing. You can even keep the melody. Swing, swing your hammer. Swing, swing your hammer. And you can even practice in the backyard, just wailing on a tree, you know? Hey, go Braves. Anybody from the Braves organization watching, you can use that, but I want season tickets for life. It's right there, Hammer and Hank Aaron. Oh, man, when I'm not watching baseball, I watch a lot of Bigfoot shows. You got any believers here? You guys into crypto? Zoology? Yeah? Yeah, Squatch, Chupacabra, Alabama Devil Pig, anybody? No? I believe, man. I believe in Bigfoot. I really do. I also believe pumpkin pie is a vegetable, so what the hell do I know? I want to believe, man, I want the study and the search for Sasquatch to be considered science and not folklore. But man, some of my fellow believers are really hurting the cause. Why is it always the biggest, goofy mouth breather who sees Squatch? I was watching one of the shows the other day. They were interviewing this dude who'd seen a Squatch. Man, they had to subtitle English. That's so discouraging. In America, technically speaking the language, we still need some help. Just type that shit out. Because you can't understand what the hell they're saying. This guy was like, well, I was out back burning trash, and I stopped to go inside to make a jelly sandwich, and I saw this hairy sumbitch standing by the trampoline, must have been 9 feet tall. And that's the footage they actually used. Can you imagine the stuff that fell on the editing room floor? Just a guy rambling about nonsense. Yeah, Piggly Wiggly's got the best prices. But I heard they fired the dairy manager for changing the expiration dates on the milk. From 11-day expiration to a 14-day expiration, something to do with his bonus structure. Did you see Bigfoot or not? What the hell are you talking about? Sometimes you can tell the host of these shows gets so frustrated with these goobers that they will just start telling their story for them, but in the form of a question. You know, like, Cecil, isn't it true that this farm has been in your family for 5 generations, and you and your father and even your grandfather have all had separate encounters with an unknown bipedal creature? All right, thank you for sharing your story. Is that a wrap on Cecil? Are we done with him? Jesus Christ. I saw something back there hooting and hollering. I don't know what the hell it was. I shot him, man. I don't know. You ever had Bigfoot chili? That's good stuff. Oh, man, I can't explain how excited that I am that you guys came out today. This is so fun to get up here and just ramble about nonsense and call it a career. I got a real, yeah, thanks. Clearly the best job I've ever had. I got a real peppered employment history. I've done all kind of weird shit, man. Done weird stuff, done mundane stuff. I used to work at Longhorn Steakhouse. Right on. Worked at Branch 138 in Canton, Georgia. Right on. That number means nothing to you unless you happen to be a member of the Longhorn family. Then you might remember that Branch 138 sold the most chicken fingers of any Longhorn in the country, like 5 years in a row. When I worked there, boy, those North Georgia rednecks love their chicken fingers. Chicken finger biscuit, chicken tender biscuit. I don't care what it is, just put it in a biscuit. You don't get a ribeye or filet chicken finger biscuit? More ranch for the free bread, what for dipping? Yeah. We never sold any appetizers, just ranch and bread. Oh, I hated that job. I was so bad at it, too. I was always having to, like, crack jokes, play little practical jokes to kind of keep me from, wanting to kill myself. One of my favorite little zingers. We got any restaurant folks, any service industry folks? Right on. 86. 86 is code for we're out of. Kitchen runs out of something, they'll tell the waitstaff, hey, 86 out, we don't have any more, don't sell any. Every night we would run out of baked potatoes. Every night. Those North Georgia rednecks just dip them in ranch, swallow them whole. like a redneck vitamin. And just love the baked potato. And every night, somebody from the kitchen would yell, 86 baked potatoes, and then I'd hop up and go, that's a lot of baked potatoes. Never got a laugh. That's a solid restaurant joke. Never got a laugh. My favorite little joke to do, what I would do, I do this about 3 times a week. This is my favorite thing to do. All right, at Longhorn, like a lot of restaurants, you go there on your birthday, you tell them it's your birthday, you get a little free dessert. A little key lime pie, a little brownie a la mode, good time. But not only would we hook you up with a free dessert, we would sing for you the Longhorn birthday song. Yeah, not happy birthday. We had our own nice little birthday song. Went like this. Fried chicken, country hog, it's your birthday. Hot dog. That's the fun one right there. That's a good time right there. So the way it would go, all right, let's pretend, you guys are at my table. I'm waiting on you guys. I find out that it's your birthday. As your server, it's my responsibility to go in the back and round up the birthday posse. Yeah, birthday posse was just me and 6 or 7 other pissed off minimum wage employees. We'd have to gather in the kitchen, right? I'd have to get everybody together, and then I'd have to lead us out of the kitchen into the dining room, marching and clapping in single file. So we'd come out of the kitchen, we'd get to the dining room, we'd get to the table, we'd circle around, and if it was my table, it was my responsibility to start the song. So I'd get there, we'd give it a beat or two, and then I'd supposed to yell like, fried chicken, and by that time the rest of my crew, country hog, it's your birthday, hot dog, and they're loving it, and we're still miserable, My little twist on it, I would round up the birthday posse and I'd lead us out. All right, we're marching, we're clapping, we're marching, we're clapping. All right, we get to the table. All right, Dave's table. Dave's responsibility to start the song. But here's the trick. I never started the song. Not once in 2 years did I ever start that song. So if you're watching this from across the restaurant, you just see these nice people sitting there with their chicken finger baskets with 6 or 7 Longhorn dickheads just clapping and staring with our dead eyes. It would get so awkward so fast. I'd milk this for 45, 60 seconds every time. All my coworkers are bored, they're high, they're not paying attention. They're like, it ain't my fucking table, I'm not starting it. Till eventually one of my buddies would break down and hop in. Fried chicken, country hog's birthday, hot dog. Fuck you, Dave. God, you suck. Choke on a baked potato. In hindsight, one of the best jobs I ever had. One of the weirdest jobs I ever had, for some reason, when I was 19 years old, I was hired to be an undercover security guard at a grocery store in my hometown. I was deep cover in the small town in which I lived. I worked at Ingles grocery store up in Canton. Yeah. I was a loss prevention officer. That was my title. And my job, I'd work about 4 days a week. I'd work about a 5-hour shift. I'd come in, I'd wear normal clothes, and I would just pretend to be a customer, and I'd try to buzz shoplifters. And mostly it was just me standing around pretending to read labels, just spying on people, just like, yeah, put that shit in your pocket, dude. Put that in your pocket, I dare you. I'd hang out at the magazine rack, thumbing through wrestling mags, just watching the entrance, just profiling the shit out of people, Don't get tense, it was all rednecks, just, uh-oh, there's a juggalo, all right. Better head over to the soda aisle. The guy who hired me, he's like, hey man, don't tell the staff what you're up to. We have a lot of employee theft issues. I want you to keep an eye on them as well. They figured that shit out in like 2 days. They're like, hey, boss, who's the guy who's been here since 9 a.m. every day this week? Who's that guy? They'd come up, be like, sir, can we help you? I'm like, no, I'm good. Just got a lot of coupons today. I know I've been here for 5 hours, but just a lot of mouths to feed. Wasn't supposed to tell my friends what I was doing. My friends would come in all the time, buy cigarettes. They're like, Dave, what are you doing? You're here every time. What a loser. What are you doing? Like, walk away. I'm in too deep. Walk away. You're going to blow my cover. It's like the shittiest Scorsese movie. I worked that job for 6 months. I made one bust. I sucked. I was 19. I didn't care, right? All right, long story short, it was this kid I went to high school with, this kid named Grady. Everybody in school knew Grady. Everybody in town knew Grady. Really, just one of the sweetest, jolliest kids you ever want to meet. Just a good-hearted fella. Unfortunately, Grady was mentally challenged. Not severely, but enough that he was in special classes. And, you got to be nice to those folks, right? Everybody was cool with Grady. He was a sweet kid. He was always in the homecoming parade every year. He was like leader of the pep squad. He was always at the pep rallies. Just a great dude. And Grady's favorite thing in the world was playing tag. Somebody somewhere taught Grady the concept of tag. Couldn't get enough of it. 10 times a day, just run up to you. Tag, you're it. Cackle his ass off running down the hall. You're supposed to play along. Oh, damn it, I was it yesterday, Grady. Come on. So anyway, this is a couple years after high school. I hadn't seen Grady in a while. So one day I'm sitting there, reading a can of black beans, just spying on some guy. And I see Grady walk in. And I'm like, oh, man, that's so Grady. He didn't see me, but I saw him. I'm like, man, that's Grady. I wonder what he's up to. Grady makes his way to the back, to the deli department. And I could tell that he's striking up a conversation with our sweet little old lady of a deli manager. They're talking. Eventually, she reaches under the case, grabs a big hunk of something, starts slicing it off on that cool slicer, puts it on the scale, prints out the price tag, puts it on the bag, hands it to Grady. Now, as you guys know, you're supposed to take that stuff up to the front and, pay for it. Grady grabs his bag of whatever and just briskly starts walking towards the exit. And I'm watching this go down. I'm like, oh, man. I don't want to bust Grady. Surely he's not. I mean, maybe it's Grady. He doesn't. Nope, he's leaving the store. Oh, shit. So by law, we had to wait till they actually left the premises before we could do anything. So he leaves, and, I kind of follow him out on the sidewalk and just as friendly and non-threatening as I could muster. I'm like, this is Grady, come on. I just said, hey, Grady. And then Grady looked back at me, and without hesitation, Grady fucking bolted. Just boom! Like he's stealing a base, just out the door. I freeze, I panic. I'm like, what do I do? Do I give chase? Do I let him go? It's Grady. And then I'm like, you ain't done shit in 6 months, Dave. Now's your chance to shine. Fall back on your training, Dave. So I run out the door. First thing I yell, I just said, Grady, don't make me do this. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. So Grady's hauling ass down the sidewalk. He doesn't run out towards the parking lot. He's running down the sidewalk towards Walmart, just hauling ass, screaming back at me. She said I could have it. She said I could have it. I'm not making fun of him, just how he talked. And I'm thinking, no, the hell she didn't. I saw that go down. I saw it. Oh, man, she didn't say you could have that. So I give chase, and we're running, and we're getting closer and closer to Walmart. Now I'm thinking, whatever happens, I got to catch up to him and track him down before he gets into Walmart, because that's not my jurisdiction. I don't know their policies. I'm not familiar with the floor plan. Plus, that's the last thing I need is some yakety-sax bullshit of me chasing a mentally challenged kid through Walmart over a bag of bologna. So I'm like, I gotta catch him before he gets into Walmart. My intention was to chase him down, wrangle him by the shirt, us both coast to a slow roll, no harm, no foul, right? I chase him like 80, 90 yards all the way down to Walmart. I'm hauling ass, he's hauling ass. I get like 5 feet from him. As soon as I reach out to grab him, for some reason, in a full sprint, Grady stops on a dime, turns 180 right into my line of fire. I couldn't stop. We collided. Boom! I destroyed Grady. It was a violent collision. He was like a wiry bucko 5. I was me, even back then. Just Lawrence Taylored his ass all over the sidewalk. Like it was rough. He busted his elbow, like skint his elbow. Blood's everywhere. A crowd has gathered. They're gasping. I feel awful. He's on the ground, like laid out crying. She said I could have it. I'm like trying to plead my case to the mob. Like, oh, he stopped short. I didn't mean to do that. Like, he stopped. I couldn't help. I help him up. He's crying. I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry, buddy. I grab the bag. I look at the price tag. $0.05. A nickel's worth of cheese. One slice of cheese. Oh shit, she probably did say you could have that. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Tag, you're it. Mentally challenged or not, we don't play that shit at Ingles. You take that down to Kroger. Promptly terminated. Not supposed to physically assault mentally challenged kids over literally a slice of cheese. I have to leave that one off the old resume. Man, good job, Dave. In a weird way, I guess that job prepared me for a job that I would have about 4 years later. I've been doing comedy a while. Here's a little peek behind the curtain. Sometimes you run out of shit to talk about. So you gotta go into the closet and dust off some skeletons. I was a cop for 4 years. Yeah, right up the road in Cobb County. Yeah, sweet gig. Yeah, I don't talk about it much because I don't know if you've watched the news in the past decade. Not a popular trade. Yeah, and before you pass judgment, guarantee you I was the coolest cop you ever heard of. 4 years being a cop, not one marijuana-related arrest. Proud to say that, right on. Not one. You know why? Because everybody I knew, including my girlfriend and maybe me, was a huge pothead. I was like, well, I might be a pig, but I'm not a hypocrite, so... Yeah. I even almost got in trouble so many times. Like, my supervisors would be on scene. They're like, Stone, you're not going to arrest him? I'm like, he's just got mid, Sarge. Like, that ain't nothing but seeds and stems. He shouldn't have to go to jail for that shit. But yeah, I don't talk about it because I don't have any good stories. I never fired my weapon, never caught a bank robber. I did, on more than one occasion, run lights and sirens to go take a dump. Yeah, there's an abuse of power you rarely hear about. Yeah, did that all the time. That's the only thing about the job I miss. Yeah, we've all had to pull over when a cop goes screaming by, lights and sirens, or as we called it, running code. Well, most of the time when a cop is running code, they're probably going to an emergency. Sometimes they just gotta take a shit, I remember one time I was taking a burglary investigation. It was a little old lady. Somebody had broken in, stolen her VCR, Golden Girls commemorative plates or whatever. And I'm in there dusting for fingerprints, pretending to care. And I get a little rumble in the old tum-tum. And I faked a higher priority call just so I could leave. Just out of nowhere. 3113, that's a 10-4. Ma'am, I'm sorry, we've got an armed robbery in progress. I gotta go. Hauling ass all the way across town, back to the precinct, blowing through red lights, altering the flow of traffic, just because Officer Stone couldn't resist Arby's 5 for $5. Yeah, man, did that all the time. So next time, as a little treat to yourself, next time you have to pull over because a cop goes screaming by, just think, maybe he's gonna go take a dump. Yeah. Kind of takes the edge off that authority figure thing, ACAB indeed. All cops are bloated. Yeah. But yeah, I honestly never wanted to be a cop, says the guy who just spent 10 minutes telling you about his childhood hero complex. No, it was just a job. It was just a series of bad decisions that led up to that. It really was. I dropped out of college to go to broadcasting school. I was a radio DJ for 4 years. Loved that. Until one day our station switched formats from classic rock to top 40, and I just quit. I was like, I'm not playing NSYNC for a living. I'm not doing that. So I literally just quit because I didn't want to play Backstreet Boys all day. Went and waited tables at Longhorn, did some landscaping, even applied at the fire department at the same time I applied at the police department. They both tried to hire me, but I went with the police department simply because they made 35 cents more an hour. And Yeah, man, I was just a young, impatient dude who needed a job, so why not join the world's most hated profession? Yeah. And earlier I said I don't have any good stories. What I meant is I have interesting stories, but none of them are good. I think I have time for one more if you really want to hear it. If you're all right. All right. Okay. And if you say so. I don't know how to get into this story. Let's just say on my third day on the job, I found a head, a human one. I located and retrieved a human head. See, I told you. This is on you guys at this point. All right, when I got hired on, I don't know how other departments do it. When I got hired on, I spent 5 months in the police academy. Monday through Friday, classroom setting. That's where they teach you the basics of law enforcement. You know, how to overreact. How to make up your own probable cause. Ignore the Fourth Amendment, those kind of things, the basics. So you do that for 5 months, then you graduate, then you're released out on the street, but with a FTO, a field training officer. You spend another 5 months riding shotgun with your FTO until you can prove that you got the hang of it and you can fly solo, right? On my third night out on the job with my FTO, we get a call that there's a mannequin laying on some train tracks. And I was like, I know I'm new, but is that something people typically call 911 for? And so we get there, and suspicion's confirmed. Not a mannequin. But, all right, before I go any further, this isn't some shocking edgelord story just to get a rise out of you guys. This is just a thing that happened. So we got the body with no head, and we're like, oh, shit. So we start looking around, and then in a ditch about 10 yards away, I spotted the rest of the fella. And first thing I said, is that him? And my FTO said, maybe. He was an FTO for a reason. He knew not to jump to conclusions. So we left everything where we found it. We called out the detectives. Anytime there's a dead body involved, we call out the detectives. And, this, and no disrespect to the victim here. He was, apparently they concluded that it was a suicide. He found a really creative and ballsy way to cash out. He laid his head across the train tracks. So, so we're standing around for like 2 hours while they're doing their thing. Eventually, the coroner shows up in his little minivan. He's got him and his assistant. They pop out. And they go down, they're doing their thing. They gather up the body, they load it up, and they're about to drive off when the lead detective goes, hey, you forgot something. These guys were about to drive off without their full order. In their defense, it's usually a one-piece deal. So the coroner hops back out of the van, then he goes, oops. Like, oops, one of those days, forgot the head. It was at that time when my FTO handed me a black trash bag and said, quote, go get him, Stone. And I was like, what? And then he got shitty about it. He goes, take this friggin' bag and go get his friggin' head. Like it's something we dealt with all the time, right? So I put on some latex gloves. I'm going down to the ditch, and I'm just thinking, like, man, I could be playing ping pong and making chili right now back at the firehouse. But, it's not really what I signed up for. So now I'm thinking, like, all right, what's the technique here? What's my approach? My instinct was to do what I did when I was in landscaping, and I had to bag up a big pile of leaves. We had this nice technique where you got the pile of leaves there, you lay the trash bag out flat with the opening facing the leaves, and then you kind of stand inside the bag to hold it down, and with one arm you prop it open, and with the other you just scrape the leaves between your legs, like a center hiking it to the quarterback, just a little hut. Like I thought like that might be the least intrusive for both of us. I didn't do that. I was way too new and nervous to get that creative. So fortunately for me, our victim had a ponytail. So built-in solution, right? So I pick him up and put them in the bag, and I almost did this thing. Thank God I didn't do it, but I almost did that thing instinctually where you just squeeze all the air out of the bag and twist it and tie it in a knot. I started to. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? I was like, come on, show some respect. Jesus. I was just almost, you know. Instead, I just kind of limp-wristed it over to the coroner, and I handed it to him, and he just casually said, thanks. Yeah, man, no problem. Hey, when you get a chance, can you hand me that head? Sure, man, got your back. So they go on about their way, we go on, you know, to finish our shift. Now, the thing about those 5 months when you're riding with the FTO, after every shift, after every night, you have to go back to the precinct, they got to do a report card on you. You know, tell you what you did wrong, what you need to work on. Other than the headless guy, it was kind of a slow evening. So we're back at the precinct, and my FTO is just struggling to come up with something to critique me on. And he actually said, I don't know, man. I like how you knew to put on gloves before you bagged that dude up. I was like, yeah, man, give me some credit, dude. I wasn't just going to get a giant Ziploc bag, turn it inside out, and pick him up like a dog turd. Like, I got some common sense, man. Yeah, and you know, I'm in that weird exclusive club. I'm one of the few people that knows what that feels like. I guess that's what they call life experience. And man, I don't know. We didn't weigh it. I guess it weighed about 8 pounds, like that cute kid from Jerry Maguire said. But what that little dude didn't mention is when you're carrying a human head in a trash bag on your third day of a job you didn't even want, all the bad decisions that lead up to that moment make it feel a lot heavier. That's enough for me, guys. Thank you for coming out. I love you, Atlanta. You're the best. Thanks for coming. Y'all have a great night.
Dave Stone, everybody, let him hear it.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Okay, thank you.